What's going on, everybody? Barrett here with Spec of Tech. Welcome to the channel. For those of you that follow the channel, you know that I'm kind of a subwoofer guy. I'm a bass head. I love my subwoofers and powerful bass. So today's video is something that I'm very excited about because it is going to be about a subwoofer or multiple subwoofers that you've never heard of before. It's brand new, so I'm very pumped to tell you guys about them because they are just an exceptional value. So just recently, I took a trip down to Toronto to go and visit one of my favorite hi-fi stores. It's somebody I've been dealing with for years, long before I even had a YouTube channel. His name's Amir, and he runs Summit Hi-Fi, and I've had nothing but phenomenal experience every single time that I've dealt with him. And I'm really glad that I had this opportunity to take this trip and sit down with Amir and talk to him about what he's trying to do in the audio community. And truly what he's trying to do, guys, is he wants to provide you with value. He wants to provide you with excellent products and try to keep the price down to a point where it's below the competition, but still giving you performance at or above the competition. And the subwoofers that I'm going to talk to you about today are no different. That's exactly what he's trying to bring to the community here. So it's just really fantastic to sit down with him and find out that, you know, that's what he is all about. And it's genuine. He truly does want to bring you guys fantastic products and keep the price down so that it is affordable. And sticking with that mantra, he wants to bring you guys some subwoofers that do exactly that. So today I'm going to talk to you about one of these subwoofers. I had a chance to sit down and listen to the subwoofer. I also had a chance to measure the subwoofer. Now, granted, I was measuring this in a room that's not my own, so things are going to be definitely different there. But judging by what I saw in the measurements in Amir's space, this thing is going to be a beast of a performer, and the price is just out of this world. I couldn't believe that he was able to offer this type of performance for this type of price. And the subwoofer that I'm talking about is the Tonewinner D6000 15-inch ported subwoofer. So there you have it, guys. There is the Tonewinner D6000 single 15-inch ported subwoofer. Now, there is going to be some other models coming out, which I'm sure I will cover in future videos. But this is the model that I wanted to talk to you about today because it's one that I spent quite a bit of time with over at Summit Hi-Fi. And I have to admit, this thing is a stellar performer. But before we start talking about some of the performance and the sound quality, let me just list off some of the specs so you guys have an idea of what we're dealing with here. So the subwoofer dimensions are 18.9 inches by 23.5 inches by 24.72 inches. And it weighs in at 92 pounds. The amplifier is putting out 800 watts RMS, so that is continuous power. The amplifier does have balanced and unbalanced connections as well. But something that I was really surprised to see on this amplifier is that it does have a little LCD display to kind of show you some of the information with some buttons there that you can change some of the parameters. Keep in mind that they did put the display upside down on purpose because for the most part, people are going to have the amplifier up against the wall. So you're going to kind of be peeking over the top of the subwoofer looking down on it. So they wanted to have it right side up for the people that were looking at it that way. Unfortunately, for those of you that don't have the amplifier up against the wall and you are looking at the amplifier straight on, you will have to deal with a display that's upside down. But I wanted to point out that that is why they did that. It's because most people do put it up against the wall. But the surprise doesn't stop there. This amplifier does have Bluetooth built in, and they do have an app developed for this subwoofer so that you are able to change some of the parameters. It does have some different DSP options, so you can go like in a deep mode, a strong mode, or a standard mode, similar to something like an SVS where they have their standard, extended, and sealed. This subwoofer at the current moment isn't offering any sealed mode, but it does have 3 different listening modes for those of you that like to tweak things, or it does have options for you to tweak things on your own with an EQ. You can put your own PEQs in if you want to try and flatten it out in your room without room calibration or that sort of thing. But I was very impressed to see that it had a functional app that worked great. We didn't have any hiccups with the app whatsoever while we were using it in a product that's this inexpensive. The claimed frequency response is 15 hertz to 220 hertz, and I do have to say, based off the measurements that I took in Summit Hi-Fi space, that it is able to go down to 15 hertz at a relatively flat response. And I do want to refrain from giving out too much information on the measurements here, simply because I was measuring it in a space that I'm unfamiliar with. I'm obviously much more familiar with my room and how subwoofers respond in my room. So I will give you guys some numbers from the measurements that I took, just to kind of put things into perspective. Again, take this with a grain of salt. It is a room that I'm unfamiliar with, but we were hitting 14 hertz at about 105 decibels with peaks in the higher frequencies of around 117 decibels, which is quite impressive for a single-ish 15-inch subwoofer like this. Again, do take that with a grain of salt, but I'm very, very excited to get this subwoofer into my space to see what it can do in my room because I'm far more familiar with it. But just to see that we were hitting the frequencies that they're promising and even a little bit lower with very usable output is just very promising to see. Now, just again, to help put things into perspective, perspective, I don't want to directly compare this, obviously, to like an SVS PB3000 or anything like that, because I wasn't able to directly compare them in the room. But I would say that the output that this is giving out is pretty close to what you'd most likely expect from something like a PB3000, if not a little bit higher. Again, I have measured the PB3000 in my room, so when I get this subwoofer in my room, I can measure it and it'll give me a much better impression as to how it does stack up. But based on that, I would say that it is a slightly better performer than the PB3000. But again, take that with a grain of salt. It's just my initial impression based on what I saw. Now, I'm sure that there are those of you out there right now wondering, what is the price? Just tell us the price already. So the price on this unit is going to be $1,299 US dollars or 1,799 Canadian dollars. Now again, just to help put this into perspective, I do feel like this Tonewinner subwoofer is in the realm of the PB3000. Again, I do feel like, based off what I was seeing, it is going to slightly outperform the PB3000, but still in that realm. And the SVS PB3000 is 1,599 US dollars or 2,700 Canadian dollars. So in the Canadian market, it's no question the Tonewinner D6000 is going to be far less than the SVS PB3000, and in the US market, it is still significantly less money as well. Now, obviously, this isn't a review video because I haven't spent enough time with this product to fully review it, and I haven't had it in my own space to fully review it, but I'm just very excited about this product, that you're getting a 15-inch subwoofer that performs this well. Like, I really, really was impressed with the numbers that this thing was putting out with 800 watts RMS. And while we're talking about this, let me just tell you guys, so I wanted to do some compression testing just out of curiosity. Again, it wasn't in my space, it was some in hi-fi space, but I kind of had an idea of where I thought this subwoofer was going to tap out, you know, given the size of the driver and the wattage and whatnot, and kind of what I've seen from products, especially in this price range in the past. And this subwoofer went well beyond where I thought it was going to tap out. It has some very respectable numbers. Again, I don't want to give away too much on the numbers, but I was thoroughly impressed at the compression testing of this subwoofer in that space, and I'm very much so looking forward to testing it in my own space to see how the compression testing does here. All right, so now that we've covered all that, let me talk about the sound quality real quick here. And again, this is an area that I was very impressed with this product. You know, with some of these subwoofers, especially on the lower end of the spectrum, you're not expecting like a very low tone, like deep throaty sort of bass. And that is what this subwoofer provided. And it provided, like I said, based off the measurements there, 105 dB, I think we were at 14 hertz. It had some substantial low end, so you know, things were shaking in the subsonic frequencies, things were shaking of course in the higher frequencies, but it was just a very impressive sounding subwoofer, not just considering the price though. Like, you're getting that deep throaty tone, you're getting some substantial kick, and you're getting substantial low end, all from a subwoofer that you wouldn't expect it from. And I guess the best way to put it is just, I went there with a certain expectation in mind that, you know, it's going to kind of perform around this level, you know, it's going to sound good, it's going to be decent all around subwoofer, and, you know, it's going to provide this. But then things started to surprise me, like the fact that it has Bluetooth built in with the app. And then we were able to actually hit 15 hertz, 14 hertz with usable output. I was expecting a much more aggressive roll-off. We were able to hit some substantial peaks of about 117 dB, I believe it was. And the compression didn't happen as soon as I thought it was going to happen. And just things just started adding up to the point where my eyes were just wide open. My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, how are they providing this type of performance for the price? Again, guys, like I said, I didn't want to come on here and do like a review or anything. I was really excited about this subwoofer because it really is geared towards the consumer. This is something that you can pick up, be proud of, and it'll have performance that I believe is going to exceed significantly your expectations for what you're paying for it. It certainly did mine. And I just really wish something like this was around back when I was first getting into home theater, simply because it truly does open your eyes to the entrance to big boy bass, similar to the way that SVS does or Monolith does, but it just does it at a fraction of the cost. So it's just so affordable for the consumer. And I'm all for that. Anybody that wants to provide an excellent product, excellent performance, and still give it to the consumer at a reasonable price, I'm all for that. I'm very excited about this, guys. I can't wait to do the full review once I get a unit in my space, but I did want to make you aware of it. Again, I've dropped links to Summit Hi-Fi down in the description below. He probably will be able to give you more details as to when this is going to be released, but I did want to give you this information, especially for those of you that are currently shopping. Before maybe you bought something, you might want to wait and see on these subwoofers, because I do think that they are going to be something special on the market for the consumer. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I hope you do enjoy me bringing you products that won't necessarily have been on your radar before, or they're not necessarily kind of the mainstream, so you won't have seen it. I do enjoy bringing this information to you guys, especially on something like this that provides such an excellent value. So please do consider subscribing, tick the bell icon if you do, and please take just one short second to hit that like button. I always do appreciate it. I would also really appreciate if you guys would consider supporting the channel. I've dropped my Patreon link down in the description below. You can hit the join or the like button right below this video if you'd like to help out that way. But just remember to enjoy your systems. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.